Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, tmosso@the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we are discussing a special edition, not a limited edition, but a special edition made in 2016. What you're looking at right here from Breitling is the Chronomat 44 Blacksteel SE for special edition. It has a DLC-coated stainless steel case. It is a Chronomat, 44 millimeters in diameter, 17 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 53.7 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, it is a large watch, and it is a Stark watch, and it's a watch that has a lot of personality on the wrist. You don't necessarily need to spend Hublot Big Bang or Royal Oak offshore money to have a high-quality Swiss sports watch that can do an awful lot of things and look the part of an upscale bomber. This thing is absolutely aggressive. It's outrageous. It does have several important currents of Breitling history running through it, but above all, this is an instrument watch made to be seen and read, and those are two distinctly different things. So, taking a look on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, the watch is large. In fact, I wouldn't wear it on a wrist any smaller than mine, so 16 centimeters circumference and up. Now, in terms of thickness, 17 is pretty huge, so don't expect this to fit underneath the cuff. Here's your down the barrel shot. Here's your over the top, which always exaggerates the width of the watch. Remember, down the barrel is the true angle when you're looking at a watch on your own wrist. Now, the strap right here, you can see this is not actually the strap that would have shipped OEM. This would have originally come with a version of the strap known as Twin Pro, which would have been black on the outside and the same yellow as the dial on the inside. Now, you can always order that as an accessory. It's something that's regularly offered in the Breitling catalog, but this is a brand new strap that we've fitted that is uncut and features pre-scored marks, so it can be cut to length. And you can see this is the Diving Pro 3 style strap. It's got this combination of raised, relieved, and then you can see these little sort of debossed style letters with a slider inside. This is Breitling's best clasp. You can see there's a trigger, and then there are these little detents that allow this trigger to act as an incremental sizing slider rather than all or nothing like a dive extension. We have twin triggers. We have a single full deployant. The clasp is steel and diamond-like carbon coated, just like the watch. Now, there are many different types of PVD deposits. Physical vapor deposition is a process. The material that actually goes on to the substrate, that's what varies. DLC, diamond-like carbon, is what you want. It is the most scratch resistant, and it is what we have right here. Now, the watch features a relatively tight coupling of strap and case. There's not a whole lot of daylight visible between them. You can see this little insert in the case flank that allows the strap to nestle right up without a big gap between strap and case. And in fact, if you look carefully, you can see that little insert is in fact part of the case. Now, the case is relatively simple: blended tapered lugs, satin finished mid-case, satin finished lug hoods. We have polished screw-down chronograph pushers and onion-style crown, which is a modern Chronomat signature and has been since the first of the modern Chronomats in 1983. The watch has tremendous water resistance. You can see it is 200 meters water resistant. Now, we've got a bezel, which is 120 clip. Has a superbly refined and precise action. Now you can line up the bezel pearl and the minute hand for an impromptu 0 to 60 minute count-up timer that can run concurrently with the chronograph. Also, note the size of the bezel pearl and the fact that it is capped by sapphire for durability. Let's take a quick look in the dark so you can better see how the watch operates. There is a huge bezel pearl. You can instantly read it against the minute hand. You can also see that the chrono seconds hand is visible in the dark, so you know your chronograph is running. Now, the way the bezel is put together, it uses the rider tabs that are also a signature of modern Breitling. These also debuted alongside the onion-style crown on the 1983 Chronomat. We also, and by the way, the point of the tabs is to make the bezel easier to grip when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. We have these little screws fixing the bezel to the case. This is called a captive bezel, and it's a more robust construction. It makes it harder to remove the bezel by impact or shock. We have a slightly domed sapphire over a dial that's somewhere between Intrepid Orange and Cobra Yellow, the two signature Breitling colors combined. They sort of give you a school bus yellow. So the dial does feature indices which are raised above the dial base, and the closer you get, the better you can see those appliques. And so this is a more premium dial than if the dial and the indices were integral or if they were painted on. Now you can see there's a little bit of a photina here, which works well with the orange and the red tones. And we have the tone-on-tone black registers on a yellow dial. You can see that there is a tachymeter scale outboard for reading the speed of an object. You can gauge that using the chronograph and the tachymeter, such as a car racing across a kilometer. And then outboard of that, you can see that we've got this little stepped track. Let me show you this. See how that inner track inside the bezel doesn't move? That's called the chimney. So if the bezel does get hit, it doesn't directly transfer the force to the crystal for durability. Now, there's a Rehot with a rather dramatic slope that features a decimeter scale. If you're wondering what this 0 to 100 thing is, that is called a decimeter scale. It's a bit archaic. It's not used commonly today. It's more of a historical reference. Now, the B01 movement does feature both hacking or stop seconds and a quick set for the date. You can see this watch has a quick settable date, just like that. Now the timepiece also features a column wheel for crisp function cycling and a vertical clutch. You can see when I start the chronograph, the hand doesn't jump or stagger because there's no play in a vertical clutch. And so you can also leave it running with no additional wear, tear, or hazard to the watch because, again, there is no play or extra meshing of gears in a vertical clutch. Now turn it all over. You can see there's a special blackened rotor that's included with this model, but it's a stock Breitling B01, and that's a good thing. This is a great movement. It's a good-looking, large-scale in-house chronograph caliber, automatic with a 70-hour power reserve, the vertical clutch, the column wheel, 47 pivot jewels, 5-position adjustment, stop seconds, a quick set date, and a COSC chronometer certification, so it is quite precise as a timekeeper. You can see the column wheel is visible, and the movement, which is Breitling's own, features a combination of ultra-accurate Edicron for fine timing and beat error adjustment, and then there's a very fine eccentric screw micrometric regulator for very small changes to the timing, under 5 seconds per 24 hours. You can also see a little distinction, like Jaeger-LeCoulton for a long-time Rolex, Breitling uses KIF shock protection rather than Inca block on the B01s. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.